Good evening, everyone. I'm just going to take a little bit of time for some people to start rolling in, and then we'll get started in about 2 minutes. Okay, I think people are slowly trickling in, so we could get started. So good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Canterbury Town Hall. We're so glad to be connecting with you this evening. My name is Mackenzie McKinley, and I'm a consultant who works with Canterbury. I'll be moderating tonight's online town hall. Tonight, you're going to hear from Wendy King, Canterbury Foundation's Executive Director, Margot Buckley, Canterbury Foundation's Fund Development Manager, John Gorsuletz of DCG Philanthropic Services, sorry, you're going to hear me screw that up a million times, bear with me, and Scott Watson, Canterbury Foundation's Board Chair and Chair of the Capital Campaign Cabinet. I'd also like to send a special thanks to Sasha Cooper, of Canterbury Foundation for running our presentation behind the scenes this evening and making everything run really smoothly. So just a reminder, you've been writing to us and letting us know your questions throughout the last few weeks, so we really thank you for that. If you have any additional questions you'd like answered this evening, please send an email to community@canterburyfoundation.com. We will not have the chat or Q&A function of the webinar open this evening, so that's your opportunity to ask us any more questions you may have. And with that, I'm going to have Margot and Wendy open up our session this evening. So take it away, Margot and Wendy.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Mackenzie. Again, my name is Margot Buckley. I'm a Fund Development Manager with Canterbury Foundation. So Sasha is going to put up our lovely PowerPoint. We've got some visuals for you this evening, which is fantastic. We're really grateful for your time and your consideration today and excited to share our capital project and capital campaign on a wider scale with everybody. I'm going to pass the baton over to Wendy as soon as that first slide gets up, so we can share more about Canterbury Foundation's vision and mission, which is deeply integrated into the Modernization and Expansion Project. So Wendy's going to take that away.
Hey, thank you. Good evening, everybody. Just move to the next slide. Canterbury Foundation is a not-for-profit organization incorporated under the Societies Act of Alberta and operates licensed senior supportive living facilities through the Supportive Living Accommodation and Licensing Act. Canterbury's nursing staff provide care through a combination of contractual arrangements with AHS Home Care and private care in its 3 living options: independent living, supportive living, and memory care. The multidisciplinary team offers holistic services which address seniors' physical, emotional, social, and spiritual needs. As a not-for-profit, all funding that flows through Canterbury is invested into programs, services, and infrastructure. There is no private ownership. Rather, Canterbury is governed by a volunteer board of directors. Programs and services like in-house geriatric social worker and spiritual chaplain are offered at no cost to our residents and are funded through donations and grants. The Court Modernization and Expansion Project, which is currently underway, will meet the increasing needs of seniors as they age in the Canterbury community. As most of you know, Phase 1 is now complete with a new addition of 50 suites in Canterbury Heights. In November 2020, individuals and couples seeking independent and assisted living first moved into the new Heights suites. To enhance safety and ease for those experiencing mobility challenges, the 5-story building features state-of-the-art design with wheelchair-accessible washrooms, roll-in showers, wider hallways with grab bars, auto lighting, color-coded floors, and upgraded nurse call units in every suite. This building enables Canterbury to increase the number of suites and replace those suites which were repurposed into amenity spaces during renovations. Residents' lives have been enriched by the modernization of some common areas first built in 1997, the atrium, Cherub's Cafe, and Canterbury's Chapel, offering spiritual care to residents of any faith. These common spaces, along with the library, games area, and exercise room, will eventually not only serve our residents, but become the spaces where community outreach programs will offer access to our care services for seniors who live in their own homes in community. This reflects our vision. Canterbury is the leader in enhancing the role and place of seniors in society. Moving away from people who love and support you triggers anxiety at the best of times. Individuals living with dementia find relocating even more disruptive and confusing, which causes heartbreak for their family and friends. Today, Canterbury supports 20 residents with specialized memory care and continues to run at full capacity. With 46,000 Albertans and 40% of people at Canterbury living with a dementia, our new dementia wing is under construction now to meet this critical need, expanding from 20 to 53 spaces. This wing features leading-edge memory care and purposeful designs generated from the work of a U of A research team from the Department of Human Ecology, who have been researching dementia internationally for several years. What you see pictured here are 3 cottages designed inside a safe wandering loop, and which reflect the lives and interests of people of Canterbury. Here, residents are immersed in sensory care through the sharing of sights, sounds, smells, and tactile experience of an Alberta harvest, garden, and coffee shop. Residents travel the wandering loop to 3 unique cottage spaces, each with a dining and activity area. Independence is encouraged with safe interaction indoors and in an outdoor gated garden. This program features a live with rather than a work with culture by thoroughly educating employees about this leading edge option for memory care, bringing purpose and meaning to daily routines, while decreasing experiences and situations that may cause confusion, frustration, fear, and sadness. When people living at Canterbury express a desire to die at home, employees do as much as possible to make it happen. Upon requiring additional medical care, many residents are now forced into unfamiliar surroundings away from Canterbury community. People utilizing Canterbury's hospice will remain near their spouse or friends living in Canterbury while approaching the end of their life. Stay in Canterbury where they feel at home at an especially vulnerable time. Relieve the stress of families moving a loved one into a hospice or end-of-life care elsewhere. Seek spiritual and emotional comfort in preparation for death, and live in furnished suites with a hide-a-bed where family members may spend the night.
Okay, so that's amazing. So what we're going to do next is attempt to play a video that shares some of the more personal stories of our residents and their family members. Keep in mind it's over Zoom, so it could have some glitches and some delays, so we hope it works. So we're just going to get that going with Sasha. So we hope, I mean, we know that some of you have seen these new spaces, and we really want to show you a little bit more. So just stand by for that, and we'll take a look.
Canterbury's home. Canterbury's home for anybody who comes here and lives here.
When we looked at the demographics of our residents and the growing demand that we know is there through research that has been done, we realized that we needed to add more spaces for dementia care. So we're going from 20 to 53 spaces.
Here's the chief with his birthday cake. Happy 80th, Casey. My husband's name is Casey Skaken, and he's a retired architect. We had a good 9 years here together. Unfortunately, he has Alzheimer's disease, and he's now in long-term care at Linwood. I think it's a wonderful place to live, and it would be nice to just move along to wherever you had to be and not have a big change, because I think that's very hard for people, especially if they're going through something like dementia.
I am a professor in the Department of Human Ecology, and my area of research is design anthropology with a focus on disability and aging. When we got involved with Canterbury, we already had this rich research package and this rich knowledge around memory care in other parts of Europe and other parts of Alberta. So we were able to bring that knowledge together into the project that was envisioned, which was the redesign of the space at the Canterbury. So the kinds of things that we looked at are, what would the garden look like? We have a wandering loop, and the wandering loop really allows people to walk continuously through the space and encounter new and interesting things at every step of that space. We're looking carefully at who Albertans are, who Edmontonians are, and we're really trying to mirror that into the building itself. In the care situations that I've studied globally, I have not seen any place that is designed the way the Canterbury will be.
I got here about 3 years ago, and I had cancer before coming here. So the likelihood of death by terminal illness is fairly high for me. So at a personal level, it's very important for me. And if I'm going to die from a terminal illness, I'd rather do it in my home, which is Canterbury, surrounded by family and staff who are now friends.
We are the first in Edmonton and in Alberta, as far as I'm understanding it, to have a hospice, a residential hospice within a seniors supportive living residence.
The core to Canterbury is its staff. They're amazing people. Leadership have created a caring environment. The frontline staff, without exception, are competent, caring, friendly. But I know how great the need is, and I just see it as such a logical extension of an integrated continuum of care. And as I said before, beneficial to residents and families, in fact, as an essential service.
The hospice program here at Canterbury will offer residents supports both physically, emotionally, and spiritually to them and their families as they move through this period in time. On that journey, they can be involved in things like art therapy, various different therapeutic massage, Reiki, and be involved in grief counseling and support with them and their families as they need.
My mom used to live in the neighborhood here, so moving into Canterbury was like coming home for her. You don't feel like you're in a senior's residence. It is like coming home. And like I said, the interaction with other seniors and staff was a huge plus for her. Meals, social activities, music, just overall engagement for her. But hospice care on site would have been a godsend. Can you imagine? That would have been so much easier for us as a family and for my mom if we could have stayed here. The transition could have been a little slower. You didn't have to go through the closet and, you know, pick out half the items that you might think she might wear in her last days. And having a hospice on site would go so far in making things easier for the resident and also for the family as well, too. They deserve that.
matter how many times I see that video, it still gives me goosebumps every time. I know Mr. Gorley is on this call too, and he's always a highlight of the video for me. Now I'm going to pass it over to Scott Watson, Canterbury Foundation's board chair and the chair of the Capital Campaign Cabinet, who would like to share why his family has made a personal gift to Canterbury. So take it away, Scott.
Thanks, Mackenzie. I'm pleased to join you this evening. Canterbury's been a part of my family for as long as I can remember. 3 of my grandparents became residents in the late 1970s, not long after the court was built. I have fond memories of visiting each of them at the court, whether for lunch in the dining room or just visiting in their suites. One of my earliest recollections, after getting my driver's license, was venturing to Canterbury Court on my own to bring my grandpa home for his Sunday supper. I don't know who was more nervous in the car. More recently, my dad was a resident in the court. He moved into a cozy, comfortable room with everything he needed. We were so happy he was able to spend his remaining days at the court, where his needs were ably attended to by the dedicated staff. Having had 4 members of my family live at Canterbury, it gave me a firsthand look at the wonderful care and attention that Canterbury's staff provide, the activities Canterbury makes available, and the potential for social interaction. It was an easy decision for me to join Canterbury as a volunteer. It seemed a natural progression, really. And when I was approached to get involved with the Capital Campaign, it too was a rather easy decision. My family, including my sister Catherine, decided to pledge $350,000 to the Capital Campaign. Our hope is this contribution will leave a family legacy and make it possible for other seniors to experience the wonderful care and attention that members of our family received from Canterbury. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Scott. I know that Canterbury is so appreciative of the contributions of your family for sure. And now I'm going to introduce Don Gorsales of DCG Philanthropic Services. He has a few words to say tonight, and I'm going to pat myself on the back for that one.
Great, thank you, Mackenzie, and you got it bang on. Yeah, it's certainly a pleasure of mine to support the efforts in this campaign. You know, I think what's special about Canterbury, and it was as it was articulated, you know, it's a home, and it's a home for many people at Canterbury, and I've had the wonderful opportunity of working with a number of assisted living and long-term care and hospice type organizations. And one thing that I certainly has found to be always special is that heightened level of care. And what I really appreciate greatly about Canterbury and that we've touched on is that it's a place where I can enter the doors and I can stay there, and I can stay there with, you know, other loved ones from my family. And I think certainly the things that I've heard through the years is that is so important. So as we move through the planning and further implementation of the campaign, one of the things that we felt that was really important is to provide those who are living at Canterbury and maybe their family members an opportunity to support the campaign as well. You know, my story, I think, is a little similar to Scott's. My grandmother had lived in an assisted living and long-term care facility. And, you know, when a campaign came along for an expansion and improvements in the rooms, my wife and I, you know, had sponsored a room at the long-term care facility. So it was a way for us to certainly recognize that was an important part of my grandmother's life, and in a meaningful and a tangible way in which my wife and I could contribute. So tonight was really to providing you folks with an overview of the project and the campaign, but also to extend to you, you know, a very warm introduction to the project, and hopefully give consideration to supporting the campaign. we have created a number of opportunities for people to give consideration to maybe doing something a little more, special in the campaign. We've created a number of naming opportunities, and I know, for example, in my case, where I named a room in my grandmother's name. But as you'll see here, that we're looking at the memory care room, at 53 at $25,000, and of course the gated garden at 75, and so forth. All of this information is will be available to you. And one other important aspect is that people will have the ability to fulfill their pledge commitment over a number of years. So when you're thinking about that in your plans, and if you would like to support the campaign, please give that into consideration. Also, again, thank you for joining us this evening and learning more about the campaign. And hopefully we can count on your support as we move forward. Thank you.
So much for that, Don. And thanks to everyone, Wendy, Margot, Scott, and Don, and Sasha behind the scenes for everything running so smoothly. And now we're going to move on to everyone's favorite Q&A portion of the evening, where I put a few members of our panel on the hot seat and ask them a few questions. So this first question is going to go to you, Wendy. What kind of programming will be available in the dementia wing, and what will the rooms look like? You're just on mute, Wendy. Zoom.
Do it every time. Sorry about that, everybody. So this program is grounded by our person-centered philosophy and considers the residents' capabilities, interests, and preferences. And so the focus is on bringing purpose and meaning into their daily lives. And the program, as I mentioned previously, will alleviate anxiety, frustration, agitation, and sadness. So examples of programming will be music therapy, horticulture, pet therapy, art therapy, homemaking, like meal preparation, baking, housekeeping, woodworking, physical and exercise programs, spiritual care, technology like our bike around program, FaceTime, reminiscing, and individualized activity kits. So as we mentioned in the presentation, there are 3 cottages within the new dementia wing, and each cottage with its own different kind of theme. And the rooms will be fully renovated from our court suites that we have right now. The bathrooms will be enlarged, and so it will be a completely refreshed area, look like absolutely brand new.
I can't wait to see it. I'm sure it will be beautiful.
Yeah, we're very excited.
Yeah, Dawn, you've not been a part of our town hall, so I'm going to be friendly and ask you the next question. Can a gift to the capital campaign be a group gift?
Most certainly, and in some of the campaigns that I've been involved with, we've seen a lot of that, where a number of individuals from a family have gotten together to do something in honor or in memory. So most certainly, in fact, I would encourage you to talk to other family members to explore that.
Thanks for that. And speaking of gifts, this next one is for Margot, because we all think it's simple, but it definitely cannot be at times. So how, if someone wanted to make a donation, how would they go about making that donation to Canterbury?
Yeah, absolutely. So the best way right now is to pop online, canterburyfoundation.com, where you see a giant tab that says donate. And so under that tab, there's many options to give, and there's a special feature section on our capital campaign. It's also really easy to get in touch with Wendy or myself or Mackenzie to start that conversation. So our contact information is also online.
Thank you for that. Yeah, we try and make our website user-friendly, but sometimes it's a bit tough to navigate. So yeah, it's a bright button on the top of the screen that says donate. We've tried to make it really easy for you. I'm going to go back to Dawn actually and ask, do you accept pledges over time, or is it just one-time gifts to the capital campaign?
No, certainly over time. I think by and large, most of the pledges will be fulfilled certainly over a 5-year time period. but doesn't need to be 5. It could be 2, 3, or 4, but certainly 5 is something that is being considered.
That's great. And so I know we're talking about gifts over time, so I think this flows nicely into the next question. It's about the project itself, and I'll pass this one to Wendy. What is the timeline for the project?
So we are expecting the project to be completed in early 2023. And so we are doing renovations of resident areas right now in 3 phases, basically. And so opening the first wing of the first new part, the dementia wing, in November of this year, and expecting to open the second half in next year, 2022, and finally with the hospice being open in early 2023.
Thank you for that. And just a reminder to those on our town hall tonight, if you do have any other questions for us, please email community@canterburyfoundation.com. I am watching out for your emails and your questions. I know we touched on this a little bit, Margot, but what is the naming of a room actually look like?
So I think this is really exciting because for Canterbury, it's a very unique and creative and individualized process. We haven't really gone very far down the road in terms of dedicating spaces. And so in traditional capital campaigns, you'll see, if you walk into an art center or a college or somewhere that's expanded and had a campaign, the kind of standard plaque where you see the name, or maybe it's the so-and-so center for whatever. But with Canterbury, we can explore so many cool and different options when it comes to how that's going to look in such a new and modern space. So outside of rooms, we've discussed things like an electronic looking plaque outside of each room. So like a kind of a mini iPad with a family name or dedication, and maybe some more like art forward and art deco kind of creative plaque work that is 3D and comes off the wall. So it's got a little more of a fun feel. One thing that I've seen in other places, which I really enjoy, is family photos along a wall. So if someone dedicates a space, they can provide us with an individual or a family photo and then a little write-up about why they chose to give to Canterbury and dedicate that space. And so when you put those kind of all in a row, it still gives Canterbury that really home-like and family feeling because you've got that nice family photo wall. So those are just a few options we've kicked around, but we can certainly, depending on the gift and the naming opportunity, create something on an individual basis inside of a gift agreement. So sky's kind of the limit, and that's really exciting.
You're definitely the right person to be a part of this project because you'll never say no. You'll always help to find a way to make something happen, which is really cool when we're working on something like this, right?
We'll write your name in the sky in firecrackers.
Yeah, everyone's listening and they'll be like, Mackenzie said Margot can make it happen. So
yeah.
Think that out loud. This is being recorded, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, this next question is for Wendy. Do you get any government funding for this project or for any other programs at Canterbury?
So we are not getting any funding whatsoever for this project. The only government funding that we receive is from AHS for our home care program at Canterbury, and as well we get a property tax grant, and that is it. No other funding.
That's very unfortunate, but that's okay. We'll be okay without you, government, right? And then we are down to our last question. We're cruising through these tonight. So remember, if you have any other questions, please do email them to us. But Wendy, we started with you. We're going to end with you. What was the decision-making process to determine a new and renovated facility is the best choice to meet the increased need for seniors housing?
So it's a long story, and it happened over several years. So several years ago, we conducted a feasibility study, and we looked at Canterbury Court, which is the oldest building, which we opened in 1974. And I'm sure we were thinking about it many, many years before that. But we went from demolishing the court itself and building a new building. Then we considered, okay, well, what are we going to do with residents who are currently living there? And then so we thought of different ways and different designs in terms of renovations. At the end of the day, we thought about, okay, we know we need to renovate their living spaces. we know we needed amenity spaces. So rather than do it piecemeal over time, we thought, okay, we need to do it all at once. And so we're going to have to move residents, and where will we move them to? So the concept of Canterbury Heights, which is the 5-story, 50-suite building, brand new building on our property, that was where that building came in. And so hence we decided to move residents from each phase into the Heights, and while we renovate the spaces. And so that's how the decision was made. And we did, in the process of deciding what levels of care to offer, we did do some research on that. And we interviewed our residents, interviewed people in the community, and it was really supported that we really need more dementia spaces, and we need to add higher levels of care, including hospice. So that's how the decision was made.
Thanks for that, Wendy. And we did get a question in the inbox. Will spaces in the hospice be allocated based on a person already being a resident at Canterbury?
So I'll take that answer as well. That is not a requirement to already be living at Canterbury. We will be accepting people from the community as well.
That's so great. So thanks. That's all the questions we have tonight. So I just want to say thanks again for everyone, our friends, our family, our residents, our staff for attending tonight. You make these town halls a success, and you ask us some really great questions. If you have any further questions tonight, please make sure you email Margot, myself, or Wendy, or email community@canterburyfoundation.com. This session was recorded tonight, so if you missed it, or if you wanted to pass it along to anyone, I will be emailing it out in the coming days. And with that, I hope everyone has a really great rest of your evening.
Thank you,
everyone.
Thank you, everybody.